Hello everyone. In this video, we'll move on to the second component of LangSmith, which is evaluation. But before that, let's try and quickly understand some theory behind it. Let's say you have an application, an LLM-based app, and the current version is V1. Now, over time, you are going to improve this or make changes to this. It could be with your prompts, the underlying model, or the whole architecture. And as the app undergoes different versioning, how do we figure out if it is actually bringing an improvement or if it is regressing the performance? So this is why you need things like evaluation and run experiments to see what is happening under the hood. Now for all this, we need to first create a ground truth data set. What do I mean by ground truth? It is basically a pair of question and answer that's going to remain the same irrespective of which version of the model or the app I use, right? It could be that I'm using version V1 of the model, but for a given question, I'm always expecting a certain answer, and same goes for any of the version of this app. Now, the underlying structure or format of the answer might change, but the core answer is going to remain the same. So in this video, we'll see how to create such data sets within LangSmith. And this is broadly the topics we'll cover in this video. And I'll walk through each of them as we proceed. Now for this data set, it's going to be based out of the RAG-based application which we discussed earlier in the demo. It's for a cafe, and the app is going to retrieve information from this knowledge base and answer the queries based on it. So I've created a pair of question and answer, about 15 of them. So these question and answers are based on this knowledge base. Uh, so um, so this is a bit of manual part. That is something you have to do on your own. Create question and answers, and let's see how we can make use of such a data set within LangSmith. So here under LangSmith, the second component is evaluations. We have the new dataset tab. Now, there are two ways to create it. One is from a file which I created here. You can do it within by using a CSV or a JSON file. I have a CSV file here, so I'll go on and upload it. I can give it a name. Let's call it Cafe Rag Dataset. Can give it a description, golden data set, and the input and output fields are automatically deducted from this. You have a question and answer, which is basically your input and the output fields, and you go on and create it. It's as simple as that. Now, before going and seeing what things are there in particular, let's create a data set through another way, which is from the scratch. You can again call it the same rag cafe data set duplicate. Oops. And golden data set duplicate, right? I'll not create the schema at this point. I'll show it to you later on, but we create the data set, and this is like a scratch version, right? We don't have any fields as of now. What I can do is I can go to my VS Code. Here I have the examples. It's the same pair of examples, question answer pairs. So what I'll need is I'll need the dataset ID from the one I created, and that's about it. You just run this piece of code. It basically creates examples from your inputs and outputs, and you give your dataset ID. So oops, once I run this piece of code, I can see that these examples are populated again. So I have two different datasets. Let's go with the master dataset which I created initially. We have the inputs, the outputs, created it, modified, splits. I'll speak about what splits later on. So this is how you create data set in a bulk from from a file and from scratch, where you create a canvas sort of thing and then use your VS Code examples, VS Code to upload the examples. Now let's try and populate individual examples, right? Now if you remember from the earlier demos, under observability, we had the tracing. So this is where your actual runs of the project has taken place, right? Now, from these runs, if I feel these examples are good enough for my later experimentation, what I can do is I can add examples uh, from these traces themselves. So let's say this was the question: what can I get under 5 pounds? And this is the answer. You can get vegan wraps and so on. Let's say I find this example good enough. What I can do is I can go to add here, add to dataset. It's going to show me the examples or show me the datasets which is there on LangSmith right now. I'll add it to the specific dataset. I can make modifications here. I think this is good enough. Um, so these are the reference fields, and I can submit it. So now if I go back to my data set, we can see that the examples have gone up by 1. It's now 16 examples. If I go here, this will also show me that this particular example has come from the RAG bot project, and this is based out of the tracing. So this way you can add examples from the actual projects or the traces that you have run, and add it to your master data set. What you can also do is add examples on your own here. Um, Go here, you can uh, say what is this question, and give your specific question here. Let's say, do you sell, oops, pizzas? And the answer would be no, we don't. So I can submit this, and this is going to create an example of its own here. Now let's talk about how we can modify the schema. So I can go here. Yeah, before that, some of the other options are you can share this data set with someone else working on the project. You can download this particular data set, edit it, or clone it to create a different example out of them, and finally delete. So I can go to edit data set, and here in the input schema, uh, let's add an input schema, add property. So this will be my question, and it is a required field, and we expect a string. And let's go to output schema. Let's say answer, and this is also a required field. So let's submit this. 15 examples don't conform to this. Okay. I think because the dataset was already present, it couldn't overlap the schema. But when you're creating one from scratch, you can obviously set the schema in the first place. Now, if you go and try to add an example, you can already see that the schema has been populated, and you can directly put in your answers or the respective row information here instead of specifying the specific titles as we did earlier. So this is how you can add details manually. And as we are progressing with these versioning, right, this gets traced here. So we started with a set of examples initially, and we added one from the trace. We added one from one manually. So what I can do is I can go and tag these. So this was like the base version, or let's say V1, right? And I can always roll back to this particular version. Let's say I go back to this. Now I can see that there's only 15 examples. And this is your latest version. This would be 17 examples. We can also generate examples through AI. So let's say I'm picking up these examples, and we can go to example and add AI generated ones. And let's say I want to create 3 out of this. Now for this, I have to give my API key. So I'm going to pause my video here. So this is the OpenAI API key that you will have to enter. um, because that's the model which is it's using under the hood. So I'm going to pause it for a while. So there you go. I put my key. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to ask it to generate the 3 questions, and I'm going to base it out of these 3 examples specifically. So let's say it has generated here. What are the opening hours of the cafe? The cafe is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Well, it's not quite accurate because the opening times are quite different for the specific dates. Does the cafe offer Wi-Fi? No, free Wi-Fi is available for all customers. Sorry, yes, free Wi-Fi is available for all customers. Now, this particular data is not there from our RAG, from the knowledge base. But I think it's a nice question to have. What payment methods are accepted at the cafe? We accept cash, credit cards, and mobile payments. Now, I don't know. This particular example is not fine. I think I'm just going to go for these 2 questions and save them. I can obviously change some of them if needed. These 2 are added now. In total, we have 19 examples, and you can see that these are synthetic examples. Uh, so that's like the final way of creating an example. So what we saw was how we could create examples in bulk and also individually. Finally, let's see how to create splits. Now, let's say you have this master data set, right? Like 19 examples in total. But let's say during your final testing, you want the model or you want the LLM app to always pass the test in a certain key question answer pair, right? You always want to pass them these questions. So let's say these are the 5 questions that are like really core for me, and I can add it to a separate split. Let's call it um, master split. Uh, So now you can see the tags under these are 2 now, both base and split. So I can create a specific split for me. Let's say master split, and this is going to list only those 5. Oops, these are going to list only those 5 data points for me. Now this is essential because when I go on for further experimentation, I can base them out of these 5, or if not, if I want to run it on the master data set based on all 19. So this is the quick video about creating data sets. And the further ones will see how to run experiments and build evaluators on them. That's about for this video. Thanks for watching.